on, everybody. Let's do this. Here we go.
It's a music celebration. Strike up the flame. Feel the beat, what a great sensation. Move it, clap your hands. Get into the spirit.
Come on, everybody. Hey, hey, hey. Hey, hey. That's me. Yeah. Oh, my please.
Hello everybody, welcome to Mondays with Mickey. My name's Mike Knigge, I'm your host, and this week we're going to talk about Captain America Civil War. I'm going to do my review on what I thought of the movie, maybe give a spoiler or two, we'll see. Before I get into that though, I do have an update for you guys, and kind of a shout out. We'll start with the update though. The update is that as of today, I'm now a former travel agent. That's right. Those who have been following my channel for a while know that I have been a travel agent for 3D Travel, specializing in Walt Disney World. You know, putting my knowledge of Disney to use. But after conversations with the company, with some of the upper management teams of the company and myself, we decided that it was time for me to step away. And this is not by any means a negative thing, either for me or for them. I didn't do anything wrong or anything crazy like that. I love 3D Travel. I love the team. I love everyone in the company. You know, they still have very fond feelings towards me. But the reality is, in my personal life, I've kind of overloaded my plate. I have my full-time job. I have Mondays with Mickey. I have responsibilities as a father to my kids. I have personal things I do on the side that I have responsibilities with. I own and operate a photography company on the side, so I do photography work on the side. And then I was also trying to do a travel business on the side, and I just overloaded my plate. I can't be in a million places at one time, and you know, we're looking at it and saying that I wasn't doing anything wrong, but I wasn't as successful as I could be, and it's just because I overloaded myself. So we decided to take something off my plate. That said, I can still help anybody who has questions about Disney, you know, as far as helping you plan a trip, you know, give you ideas, hopefully some insider points of view on things and best times to go and stuff like that. Anything that I can't help you with, again, I'm still in great terms with 3D Travel, so I can put you in touch with experts over there, and they can actually book it for you and get you information, things of that nature. Perhaps one day I'll come back to them. That door has definitely been left open to me because they'd love to have me back. But at the moment, there's just too much on my plate to try to do everything and 3D Travel. So as of today, as a matter of fact, I'm slowly starting to be removed from everything dealing with 3D Travel. So I'm officially a former travel agent. So use my expertise, guys. If you have any questions or anything, feel free to ask. I'd love to help. You know, I really enjoy bringing that magic home to families. So, and just people in general, really. So, you know, if I can help with anything, feel free to ask. Next up is just kind of a shout out and a thank you. Somebody who's been basically following my channel essentially from the beginning. His name's Tim E.D. You know, he's been helpful with me on certain things, giving me some ideas for the channel. You know, at one point he was doing a radio thing. He was trying to bring Mondays with Mickey to his radio station. So Tim E.D. has been a good follower, a good friend, a fan, and I just want to kind of throw something out for him because he has his own channel. He does Tub Time with Tim E.D. and I'm going to put a link to his channel down below so that way you guys can go check it out. Dude is off the wall crazy, but he's a crazy in a good way. He's a Disney fan just like the rest of us, so we're all kind of a little crazy. He's definitely got that, how should I put it, eccentric first, side to him. And, I've checked out a couple of his shows, definitely entertaining. Hope you guys enjoy them. Again, like I said, his information is down below. Hopefully I'll have him on the show sometime soon. Him and I have been discussing it and get an idea of what we might want to talk about together. So keep an eye out for that. So, Timmy, if you're watching, thank you very much. I really appreciate everything you've done over the course of the last year, and I look forward to hopefully working with you very soon. So, now that that's out of the way, the point that you've all come to watch. Captain America Civil War. Now, let me start off by saying this movie was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. It is a departure from the comics. Those who read the comics and read the whole deal with the Civil War in the comics know that at the culmination of Civil War, Captain America essentially turns himself in to save his team. He says, look, I'll surrender myself as long as you grant amnesty to my team. I'm the one leading this charge. I'll take responsibility. And they accepted his offer, and then right after they took him into custody, they executed him essentially for treason. So Captain America does not die in this movie. So there's spoiler number one. He lives. In fact, every character survives, although one is paralyzed. Now, if you've watched the previews, you've seen Iron Man holding War Machine, and War Machine's out and he's bleeding. It's because he got messed up really bad by accidental friendly fire. And, basically he fell from extremely high altitudes and just implanted into the ground. He survives, although he's partially paralyzed. And at the end of the movie, you see Tony working with him to try to get his mobility back, so hopefully he can once again don the suit of War Machine and get back out there. So everyone lives. That's a positive. Everyone lives. But basically, the premise of the movie is, and I'm not gonna go into nitty-gritty details of it. Essentially, the world, the nations of the world have kind of stepped in and said, look, there needs to be some kind of control over the Avengers. They go where they want, they do what they want, when they want, how they want, regardless of what happens to the people around them. And now, when I say this, the Avengers are definitely doing what they feel is right. They're trying to capture the bad guys, they're trying to capture members of Hydra. They're trying to make the world a better place. But, as you've seen in all the Marvel movies, essentially, the collateral damage that comes with these battles is insane. They, in Age of Ultron, they dropped a city from the air. So, I mean, lots of people are dying in these battles. And that's not necessarily the Avengers' fault. It's being forced upon them in those situations. But regardless, people are dying. And these battles are happening without government sanctions. So the governments of the world are like, okay, well, I get what they're doing, but our civilians, our people are dying in these battles, and we have no say-so, and there's nothing we can do about it. So the governments of the world, like 100, I think they said 115 different governments from the UN, got together and said, look, there needs to be some kind of control. The Avengers need to be a UN-run unit, and the UN needs to decide where they go, when they go, and how they go. That way, it is, when they're deployed, it's an acceptable risk. They know, the governments know where they're going, and they understand, hey, this could be the results. And they also have an opportunity to evacuate people if they need to. Iron Man's side of things feels that this is a great idea, that there should be some controls in place. Most of the people on Iron Man's team realize how many people are dying and feel guilty about that situation and say, look, you know what? There needs to be tighter constraints on us. We need to have some kind of accountability. On Captain America's side of things, he believes in accountability, but he believes you should be accountable to yourself. And that, he made a comment, the safest hands are still our own. He believes that, if they see something that needs to be handled or taken care of, they don't want to be constrained and stopped from doing what needs to be done. Tongue-tied. He doesn't want to be in a situation where he sees something bad happening and he's unable to do anything about it because the UN hasn't sanctioned it. So, he can't walk away. He doesn't want to be able to be forced to walk away from a horrible situation because he's not allowed to help. He wants that choice to be his and not some government or some collection of people with agendas. And that's kind of where this splits. Captain America's side believes in having control, having some kind of accountability. Captain America's side feels that, they should be able to make decisions for themselves. And that's where this kind of blows up, particularly with his best friend, Bucky, the Winter Soldier, being framed for a attack on the UN. And unfortunately, in that attack, the King of Wakanda, Black Panther's father, is killed. So Black Panther obviously joins up on Iron Man's side of things because he looks at like Winter Soldier killed his father, and so he's going after Winter Soldier. And of course, Captain America is trying to save his friend Bucky and exonerate him in the process. So Black Panther joins Iron Man's side. Well, both teams, the governments are like, okay, well, we need to stop Captain America because he's not doing what he's supposed to be doing. So they're sending essentially Iron Man after Captain America. But both sides realize their numbers aren't where they need to be because the Avengers have split in half. So Iron Man seeks out Spider-Man and brings him into the fold to help him with some creative manipulation here and there. It's a lot of fun to watch. I'm not going to spoil any of it. The scenes between Iron Man and Spider-Man are probably some of the funniest in the movie. And then, the outlaws, essentially, Captain America's side, look for an outlaw, who's kind of a kindred spirit. They go find Ant-Man. If you haven't seen Ant-Man, see it before you watch this movie because it'll make things so much clearer. I unfortunately watched Captain America first, and then that inspired me to go watch Ant-Man. I wish I had seen it the other way around. Ant-Man's a fantastic movie too. I'm not going to do a review of that one, but definitely a fantastic movie worth watching. So these two teams form, they go after each other. I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty of things. There's some cool crossovers in the battle. There's a nod to Star Wars, specifically Empire Strikes Back. I'm not going to describe that because the whole setting around that's hilarious. But lots of fun. So I would recommend, though, any Marvel movie up to now, watch because there are a lot of tie-ins to the other Marvel movies in this movie. And this movie sets up for the Infinity War. So it's kind of a jumping off point. It's very, if you've got the time, make sure you're caught up on all the movies before you see this. So in the end, essentially, it's kind of a tie. Neither side really wins. It looks like Iron Man wins, but in the end, they're kind of on separate. They're kind of on even keels. They're not super friendly, particularly after it's revealed that Iron Man's parents. We all know they were killed by Hydra, but we didn't know the details. It's revealed in this movie that the Winter Soldier was the one dispatched to kill Iron Man's parents. And it turns out that Captain America was aware of this situation. He knew that his friend Bucky was sent to kill Iron Man's parents. But he was choosing not to say anything because he didn't want to hurt Tony. On retrospect, he realizes that was a mistake. Because it came out at a really bad time to come out. But yeah, so at the end of the movie, the team's not reassembled. They are still separated, and they are not really friendly with each other. But Captain America does give an olive branch to Iron Man. He sends him a letter apologizing for not telling him about his parents and saying that the Avengers are probably his and they've always been his. And he says his side of the team, if Iron Man ever needs him, he sent a cell phone along with his letter, says call us. So it's set up for Infinity War. So when this all blows up in the world, all Iron Man has to do is flip the phone, call Captain America, and him and his team will come join up with Iron Man and help out. Interestingly enough, there is a flip-flop on sides. In the middle of all these battles, and you find out that Winter Soldier was actually framed. The now King of Wakanda, Black Panther, he realizes this, and he realizes he's been hunting the wrong man. And the right man is caught in the end, and I'm not going to give spoilers on details on that, on how that goes down. But because he realizes that this wasn't the Winter Soldier that killed his father. He actually takes mercy on Captain America's team. And at the end of the movie, Captain America's team is actually hiding out in Wakanda, so that way they don't get arrested and put in jail. So, movie's really set up for Infinity War. It's looking like it's going to be a fantastic movie coming up. But this is definitely a key movie for that for those two movies that are coming up. Well worth watching. I highly recommend it. Despite the fact that it does take a departure from the comics. It needed to because of the way the movies have gone. They do it in a very tasteful way. One thing to remember about Marvel is they have the multi-universes. So, every comic series for Marvel characters is different. There's the basic principles are the same, but they're different. So, you might have 3 different X-Men comic series, but they all have the basic premise, but they all go in their own direction. Think of the movies as its own direction. It's based on the comics, but it's not a regurgitation of said comics. So, lots of fun. I'm a comic fan, and I loved it. I think it was a fantastic addition to the Marvel Universe, and I'm really pumped and looking forward to the movies coming up. So go on out, check it out, decide how you feel about it, whether you liked it, hated it, or whatever, and leave comments below. I'd like to hear what you guys think of it. Whether you think you loved the movie, whether you hated the movie, what you liked about it, what you hated about it. I'd love to hear about it and get your take on it, because, again, I'm a fan, but doesn't mean I know everything and I see everything. I'd love to get other people's opinions as well. So go out and check out the movie yourselves, and then leave it in the comments below what you thought about it. Ugh, tongue-tied today. So that's gonna wrap up this week's episode. I'm really getting tongue-tied today. That's gonna wrap up this week's episode, and I'm gonna leave you as I leave you every week. Walt said it best. I hope we never lose sight of one thing. This was all started by Mouse. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you guys next week.